chill. Light on the side is the eagle becomes.
Hi, I'm Peanut from 311. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
Mouth is loose, so while I scatter my spit, I dream of juice. Have you ever made out the dark hallways? This place like this that makes.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. We're coming to you on location from Sterling Heights, Michigan with Peanut from 311. Hey Peanut.
How's it going?
It's going great. Was that the name your mother gave you when you were born?
You know, no, but my friends were another family, and I allowed them to give me a name as well.
Okay. How did that name come about?
Came about in the garage days when we were rocking out, playing cult covers, and who knows what else. But I guess I was rocking out super hard, and my head was deformed into the shape of a peanut. You know, I don't know. We were young.
Because I would think that'd be the name given to a little guy. And Pee-wee, what's the show with those idiots that do, what's it called? You know what I'm talking
The
about?
Idiot Show? Yeah, you'd think Peanut would be kind of like a diminutive nickname. But yeah, I think that's also another meaning for it, is it goes kind of both ways because I'm 6'4".
Okay. No, but the show, and they made a movie, and Bad Grandpa was like a follow-up. What are they called? Jackass. That's what it is.
I would have been good on Jackass.
I didn't mean that. I was thinking Peanut, Pee-wee. All right, we're getting way off track here. Let's talk about you and bass and 311 and the stuff that we got together to talk about.
But like the guys in Jackass who just got together like in high school and were creative, insane in their case, and a little bit more collected in our case, we just got together to have fun and make our own music in Omaha. And the challenge for us was always finding the right place to play, trying to rehearse and everything. And then when we moved to California, that's all we focused on. So we got good at what we wanted to get good at by constant repetition and pushing ourselves and making sure it was fun the whole time. And I don't know, we're still doing it 28 years later. It's crazy.
That's amazing. And I definitely want to ask you about that. But if you don't mind, I'd like to go back a little further and ask you about your initial exposure to music and how you became a bass player. Do you come from a musical family?
Not particularly. On my dad's side that I didn't grow up with, there's musicians on that side, but my mom who raised me isn't particularly musical, loves music, but never played anything. She was a tennis player, so I tried to follow up in those footsteps, but I'm not that coordinated. I'm not like long-term coordinated. I'm like short-term, little minute coordination. But I've got an older brother. Does your son Adam have a sibling?
He has 3. He's the baby.
All right. So does everybody in the family play music?
No. I think his sisters may have the capability, but they never pursued it.
Yeah.
And his brother is very intelligent, and I'm very proud of him, but he's good at other things outside of music.
Oh, okay. So I kind of give it to my brother. My brother was playing saxophone. He was doing like the Imperial March by John Williams, of course, and it just blew my mind as a 6-year-old kid that you could sit down and play a melody that you have in your head or play something that you see on the screen and stuff. That just tore me up inside. So I picked up a violin, which is, of course, the most punk rock thing I could have done, and played that for like 4 years, moved to bass when I was 11.
Well, how did that transition come about from violin to the great big violin?
Well, the first thing was that they made me play right-handed style, and I'm left-handed, and you've got to be the badass.
I was going to ask you that when you made the tennis gesture.
Yeah.
You did that with your left
that's
hand.
me.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Left-handed, but in violin they made me play right-handed because you got to be the badass in the orchestra, and no one's a badass when they're 7. So they made me fret and or finger with my left hand, which I don't know if it's helped me out or not. It's made me, I don't know, it feels different. It's different on the stat sheet, but I don't know how different it's actually been in my career as a bass player.
But how did you transition from violin to double bass?
It was straight to electric. I got a upright later on in life, maybe in 2000 or so, after I graduated, 8 years removed from graduation, kind of just to get stronger and for intonation purposes. So if you play an upright long enough, you'll pick up an electric bass and it'll be like chewing gum. It's just nothing. So that was a different transition, but straight to the electric bass, I don't know, it was easy. I was ready to be obsessed with it. There were drummers in the neighborhood, there were guitarists in the neighborhood. Everybody thinks they can sing. No one was playing bass. So I went to Brown's Music in Omaha, Nebraska, which isn't there anymore. Picked up a Fender Precision.
Omaha, Nebraska's not there anymore?
Omaha, Nebraska is still there. Don't be afraid, people. Bassists do not fear. Yes, but Brown's Music, rest in peace. And the store that I worked at isn't there anymore. Russo's. I started taking lessons at 11 at a mall in Omaha, and when I was 14, I started teaching.
Okay, wow. You must have had some influences, some maybe bass heroes, people that you liked.
Well, it was MTV, so everyone was cool. Everyone was larger than life. You know, the world's crappiest musician had such a great stage, and it was all about look, and there were such good songwriters back in the day that, I don't know, it was just a fascinating time to fall in love with music. And there was Fleetwood Mac doing their 15th album while people are just falling in love with them, and Iron Maiden was really huge for me, kind of following in Steve Harris's footsteps were really what I wanted to do. Like that guy looks like he's having fun in tights, playing loud bass, lead bass essentially, and writing all the music. I've always been a big fan, forever will be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everybody in the band is from Nebraska, right?
Everybody went to high school in Nebraska. 2 out of 5 of us were born there, but yeah, that's where we all met. We're an Omaha band essentially.
Okay. And I drove through Nebraska one time.
I love that story.
On my way,
It makes me weep.
driving across the country, I had to stop in Scottsbluff, I think, to fill my tank or
Nice.
something.
What were you listening to? Do you remember what you were listening to? What format were you listening to?
Yeah, this was years before satellite and all that. I remember driving through Wyoming, finding a great jazz station.
Cool. Yeah, you never know what you're going to find out in the middle of nowhere.
And when I drove to California, I left on a Monday, and I got to there was Monday night football and then the World Series. So that's what I remember out that trip. Lots of sports, baseball, football, jazz.
Yeah.
That's right. In my 1986 Nissan Pathfinder.
Sweet. Lovely. Yeah, so I just fell in love with music. My brother kind of led me along. He had very eclectic tastes. Eventually it got to be where he would play music and he would ask to see if I could play along with it. We got to that point, and then he went to college, and I had to kind of do that on my own. And by that point, I was listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Primus and whatever else I could get my hands on.
A couple of interesting bass players in both of those bands.
Fishbone, same thing.
Okay.
Just like
I interviewed Norwood Fisher a couple months ago. He sat and ate the whole time during the interview.
that's funny. You gotta keep your protein up. I don't know. He does a lot of push-ups.
You mentioned eclectic tastes that your brother had.
Yes.
Listening to 311, I'm sure you get this question a lot. Is it a funk band? Is it a reggae band? Is it a pop band? Is it a rap band? I mean, what's your answer to that?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I don't know. People have given up trying to kind of pigeonhole us, which is nice, and we've been allowed to kind of make our own sound. Our audience has always wanted us to kind of stretch out. Labels have left us alone historically to kind of grow in the dark. Like we say on a song, we develop in the dark like a photograph, kind of on our own. It's been great. So yeah, we draw from whatever influences. If you ask any one of us in the band, you'll probably get a different answer of what is like the leading influence. But that's what's great about rock and roll too. Is rock and roll is everything. I mean, it's in the name. You know, it's you're gonna grab from different influences no matter what. If you're in a rock band, even playing straight ahead rock, you're mixing all kinds of influences together. So to do reggae and jazz and funk and metal and punk rock and whatever music, alternative music is, which is kind of the fallback to our genre, like call it something that doesn't mean anything, it's perfect. We'll do whatever we want, and we've done it ever since. And it's fun to be in that band. It would be, I don't know what it would be like to be in any other band, but it's really fun playing the 311 bass lines every night.
You look like you're having fun doing it. Something else that's really impressive, that stands out about your band, is the longevity. And you've had very, very few personnel changes. It's got to be, 30 years just about?
Yep, 28 years.
How do you account for that?
I don't know. I mean, we love it. It's fun. Everyone has a say in the band. It's not like we step on each other's voices. We listen to each other fairly well. Bob Rock was really good at if there was a weak spot in our career, it was around that Uplifter Universal time, maybe about 10 years ago. Just where, I don't know, we were kind of wondering where things were going, and Bob Rock came in, and he's like the master of communication. I mean, you can watch it on Some Kind of Monster, how he brought Metallica together. He did the same thing with us, just got us in the room together, and it's like, hey, it's your turn to talk, speak up, tell me, give it to me. So that's kind of even things out if there was any weak spot. But yeah, we love it. We love each other. We love traveling. We love not knowing what's coming up next, but knowing we'll have an opportunity to kind of have another chapter.
You must know just about everything about each other.
Yeah, probably. What's great is when we're not on the road, we do take long breaks from each other, so it's exciting to get back in the room together and write and be on the phone and just talk ideas. So we don't wear out the relationship, which is possible if we're on top of each other all the time. But I don't know, it's great. It's a great give and take, and it's amazing we haven't gotten sick of each other or driven each other crazy.
Okay, you must
It's a
have
miracle.
some stories about some, lovers' spats and quarrels and things.
Yeah, well, we're passionate. It wouldn't be good if it wasn't passionate. So yeah, there's been some tangles, but nothing too long. Yeah.
Wouldn't be normal if there weren't.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your gear.
Sure.
Let's start with your Warwick bass or basses.
Sure. I've got many Warwick basses. I got my first one in 1993, I believe, an all maple 5-string. It was my second 5-string I ever bought. The first one I had was a Tobias, and that burnt in a fire.
My first 5-string was a Tobias.
Cool, no way. Wow, it's Tobias Brothers. Great instrument. They're great builder too.
Yeah,
And that was the thing. It kind of set me up for wanting something really boutique. And I don't know. I loved Norwood, and Norwood was playing Warwicks back in the day, and still is, of
Still
course.
is,
And all I needed to do was just kind of hold it and feel it. And that, with Norwood's endorsement and knowing that they were, kind of rare and just different, not a Fender, not a Gibson. Was really attractive to me, and they were always really cool to me.
Have you ever been over there to their factory in Mackneukirchen, Germany?
Kirchen, yeah, no, I haven't. I've been invited 1,000 times, and I've never been able to fit it in. I don't know how, why.
I've only been invited 4 times, but I've gone 3 times.
Nice, no way. You're much nicer than me.
Which model, Warwick, or which models do you play?
I've got the first thing I got was a Streamer. I think it was a Streamer 1, not a Streamer 2. I've got a Signature Series. We've been doing a Signature Series since 2005. We've got 3 different versions of that. I've got a Thumb 6-string that I just got online. I was telling the Warwick people about it, just thinking that they have like a library of instruments from every year, like 10 to pick from. And I was telling them that I found something from 1992, and they're like, you should buy that. I was like, okay, I'll buy it. Thank you, Reverb and/or eBay for making some of my purchases come true. I've had pretty much everything. I've got a Star bass that I love, all Bubinga, just incredible. But my Signature Series is basically a Streamer that I changed out the wood, and I put a Music Man pickup in the bridge position, and put some lights on my own model. And I don't know, I'll just circle back to they've treated me like family since day one, and that's why I'll probably always play their instruments.
Hans-Peter Wilfer.
I love Hans. Hans is the sweetheart.
HP.
God, what a great guy. I mean, my bucket list, as I go on a tangent about instruments, my bucket list instrument up until like 2 years ago was a wall, was finding a wall, and I found one. I found one in Ireland. I got an 88, which is the last year that the builder was alive. So that's been kind of my love affair. But every time I play it on stage, which has only been a couple times, and I get back to my my Signature Series, it's like the one true ring. It's just like it was made for me. I mean, it was, but I really feel like that. It really they've went out of their way to make me as an artist feel really special about being with them for so long, and I don't know, it's kind of a dream come true working with them for so long and have them take care of me so well.
It's funny, when I hear Wall, I think of Jonas Hellborg, and when I think of Jonas Hellborg, I think of Warwick.
Yeah,
he designed their amps, and he's a longtime Warwick guy.
Yeah, Jonas is the shit. He's incredible. He's a mad genius.
Yeah.
Just perfect, insane. He's like the Stanley Kubrick of bass.
I never thought of him that way.
Bold.
You have some Seymour Duncan pickups in some of your basses, don't you?
Yeah, I think I'll take credit for introducing those into the Warwick line. That they weren't, they were just kind of hands off, just doing German built stuff. But I love Seymour Duncans, and I did some swap outs back in the day, and thought it would just be smart for them to work together. And I think now it's an ongoing relationship.
And strings, you use GHS, right?
Yes, straight out of Michigan.
That's right. Right up the road, just a couple of 100 miles.
Just a couple of blinks. Yeah, GHS, same thing. Always taken care of me. Ever since I asked if they could do like an artist deal back when I, couldn't afford to change strings every night, that they were like, sure, of course, we'll send you 30 at a fair price.
Good for them. Good for you. Russ and John and the guys.
So cool. I love my custom set. I've got a custom set that's 40, 60, 80, 100, 130. Yeah. Trying to make some kind of congruency out of it.
Kind of on the light side.
Kind of on the light side.
Except for the 130.
Yeah, it's light on the light side and heavier on the heavy side.
There you go.
Kind of works out. I don't change too much tonal-wise while I'm playing. It's all right hand, either further up to the neck or further down to the bridge to get tone differences. And effects-wise, I've got a Moog delay, which I love. That, I don't know, analog is king. I don't use it that much on a day-to-day basis, but for sound check weirdness and bass solos, when I'm doing that, it's just, that thing's always on. But MXR envelope, bass envelope, MXR octaver. I just got a new limiter from a company that I'm not going to remember, but I love it. I say experiment with limiters. Okay. I had a diamond on my board for forever, and that thing was amazing. I don't remember where I got the idea to put it on there, but it took really good care of me. But I don't know. It was kind of like some shows I could do it. Like some stages it would want it, and some stages it wouldn't work at all. Weirdest thing, power setup. I don't know. Me being semi-sane, but this new one is great. I'll tell you what it is afterwards, and we can plug it into the interview, okay, so I don't look like a jerk.
Tell me a little about your technique, because I see you slapping a lot. I see you doing a lot of stuff with your fingers. I can't remember seeing you do a whole lot of stuff with a pick.
There's one song that Nick made me play a pick on, just to like kind of say that I did it at all.
So it's your Nick pick?
It is my Nick pick song. Nice, very good. He nitpicked.
You can have that.
Yes,
no
I will.
Charge.
The good man. It's on a song called Frolic Room, and we never play it, and cue the music. And it's fun to play with a pick. I'm not very good at it. I used to just emotionally give bass players hell for doing it, but then at the same time, like, Peter Hook was one of my favorite bass players ever, and he's just an incredible pick player. And I don't know.
Paul McCartney, Carol Kay, Bobby Vega.
Vega, yeah, I was going straight to Vega. It's just like, why? And stop. You're making us all look bad. Yeah, and McCartney's like the most underrated bass player, and also like the billionaire, the one billionaire in the bass player club, but he's also one of the most underrated guys to play the instrument, because people don't really look to him as that talent.
As a bass player, yes.
Yeah. I love that he recorded everything last. Everything might be a strong word, but I remember hearing him say that after the vocals were recorded and everything were recorded, he would come in and do the bass lines, and that's why they're so varied, especially on so many songs, because he knew what everybody else was doing, so he could play off of that and have the bass be, I don't know, doing the gymnastics.
Didn't know that.
What a badass. You shook that hand. Wow.
Actually, that was, I didn't personally do that interview. I had my managing editor do that.
Oh.
And but that's why I say we interviewed Paul McCartney.
I love it.
For bass players only, Paul McCartney. Just in the interest of full disclosure.
There you go, fair enough.
But I am a badass. Let's talk a little bit more about 311. I want to ask you specifically, you've never seemed to make your fans wait too long in between albums. It seems like Mosaic just came out, and the word is out that you're already working on the next one. How much can you share about that?
We were thinking we were going to be done with the album before this summer tour, but we took a step back and took like a month off to kind of take our foot off the accelerator because we were kind of pushing ourselves unnecessarily. Albums are so important now. This will be our 13th album that we're talking about. We've got enough music to do it, but it's got to be so right that we're not ready to release it yet. We've got more writing to do. I think some of the thongs aren't finished. But some people think some of the songs are finished, and I don't think they are. So we'll see. I like living it with it a little bit longer than just shoving it out there because it's so important now. I mean, I don't know. You don't want people to forget you because you let something mediocre come out.
How much of the writing do you do? And I know what you are more of a lyricist now than you used to be, and that seems to have been growing. Is that right?
Yeah, it's almost like it's definitely the fact that I'm writing less music nowadays for 311, but writing more lyrics. So it's a strange kind of change, but it's making me focus more on writing soundtrack stuff and themes and cues and stuff like that, since I've kind of always written like that. Every time I bring a song to Nick, he's like, that sounds like a movie. And I'm like, great. So can we chop it up and make it into a song? And he's good at making my ideas fit. But yeah, it's kind of less and less music. Writing music for 311 has been a frustrating exercise over the years. Same with writing set lists. I've got a whole different idea about the way it should be done, and I'm shouted down frequently. It's okay.
But you take it well, I guess.
I don't mind. I know I'm one guy, but yeah, you got to work with those frustrations. It's okay. I think I'm heard more and more as my role increases in writing lyrics. Like I get it, a little bit more of a say. But yeah, I don't know. It's just the way the kind of relationship's gone. I'm happy to be putting in input. I'm happy to be on stage. I could work a little bit harder to write better, but then at the same time, like, the songs are fantastic. It's a trip. It's a cool place to be.
You have a title for the new record?
No.
That you could share?
No way. No.
What?
Let's call it Love.
Love, okay. What about
Peanut Love?
What about the future?
The solo album. Yeah, that's what it would be. Is like if I want to get my crazy ideas out there, there's ways to do that, and there's bass players that I know would listen to my musical meanderings. So I don't know.
There's your audience right there. These people.
Yeah, that's reassuring. Knowing that, I don't know, whatever crazy idea that anyone has, you can get it out there nowadays. So I don't take it as that frustrating that my musical ideas don't make it into the 311 lexicon as much. But when they do, they mean a lot to me, and it means a lot when even a little bit gets in there. And I take a lot of creative freedom, on stage especially, and in the studio. The guys will ask me to interpret the writing to fit my playing and stuff. So I don't know, I get to play around with it, but yeah, I don't really own as much of it as I could.
What about the future? Either with the band or personally?
Yeah, so I'm writing music for soundtracks. I'm trying to get work doing that. Figure live in Los Angeles, might as well try. And recording is easy, sending stuff is easy. Music and movies just are perfect together. So it's kind of one of my new obsessions, although I'm taking a break from it on tour here because, I don't know, being on stage is work enough. To sit and write on the road is impossible. It makes my head hurt just even thinking about it. But I don't know, the future is really bright for 311. We played a show in Syracuse, the biggest show we've played ever in Syracuse, 2 times bigger than any show we've ever done 28 years into our career. So we're working on making the set list right, playing as many hits as we can, and really just bludgeoning people with our good ideas and like, hey, yeah, we wrote that, and aren't you having a good time? Come back next summer, that kind of thing. It's like, if we're going to do it, we want as many people to come as possible, and we're trying to find, I don't know, kind of conservative ways to do that without it being like an artistic, throw it on the wall and see if it sticks, which we've done for years and years. Now we're trying to kind of focus the set list and try and, I don't know, be more of a people pleaser than the hardcore audience. And you know who's pissed? The hardcores. It's great. So we'll come back in the fall, probably not this year, but do 2 sets, play like 40 songs a night, and play whatever we want, and do that kind of show too. And that's another thing that's fun about being in the band is we're asked to do those kind of things. We'll play these bigger shows, do a greatest hits kind of thing, and then go into clubs and theaters and play whatever the hell we want. It's wonderful. It's a good gig.
That's great. Well, make sure you come through Michigan again.
Yes, for sure.
We'll have some cereal together in Battle Creek and all that.
Yeah, and a beer.
And a beer. Last question, Peanut. What would you be if you weren't a bass player? Something outside of music.
Right? I'd be a movie director. Yep. And I'd write my own music. I'd be Robert Rodriguez. Because he wrote, directed, starred in, probably, did the music for, just, I don't know, do it all. I'd want to do that. I'd want to be that guy. Just like make it happen, force it to happen. If you got an idea and a passion, there's ways to make it happen. You got friends that you may or not even know are out there supporting you, an audience out there. Just like push yourself to be creative and have fun with this life, because it's temporary. And we're here to be creative. I mean, I'm a father of 2 kids, 2 boys. I've got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and that's all you want your kids to be happy. You want them to fall in love with something. Like that's what it is. Like, have passion about this life. Enjoy yourself while you're here. Do something that, I don't know, pleases you and does good in the world too. I mean, that's one of the other things that's great about being in 311 is we've got a message, and that's kind of the thing that gets us out of bed. If it's tiring being on the road and you miss your kids and you're gone for 8 weeks, knowing that we're making people kind of get through troubles is one of those extra little spices in the soup that makes 311 different than other bands. But yeah, just, I don't know, I would find something to fall in love with, and I would imagine it would be movie directing.
I can tell you're a great father to your kids, and I'm sure they're very lucky to have you. Congratulations on all your success, and we look forward to number 13 and beyond. All the touring, all the writing. Yeah, be sure to let us know, and we'll let all them know. Congratulations, Peanut. Great. Thanks for giving us a few minutes to sit down.
Practice your bass.
Practice your bass.
Practice your basses.
There you go. That's a good note to end on. On location in, where are we? Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Yeah.
With
we're at the Michigan Lottery Amphitheater.
We call it Freedom Hill, but it's
got a good ring
called,
to it.
yes, but now it's the Michigan Lottery Freedom Hill.
Oh,
2 nights ago, we were I was interviewing Brett Simons from Chicago.
Cool, no way.
At what's it called? DTE Music Theater, but we still call it. Are you familiar with Pine Knob?
Yes, I remember Pine Knob. What a great name.
You see people with T-shirts. I still call it Pine Knob. Anyway, wherever we are, the Michigan Lottery Freedom Hill Amphitheater, Sterling Heights, Michigan. That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
With our good friend Peanut. I'm John Liepman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.